Hey folks. Somebody let me know if you can hear me. I'm here in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Las Vegas Open. And we're gonna try and see how much of a show I can do here on my phone from this is not even the main room, this is the smaller room here at the Las Vegas Open. Let me try to switch the camera around. Can I do that? There we go. And this is, like I said, the smaller room that's got a lot of different mixed tournaments going on for a lot of different games. But the other big room, which I'll try to walk into, it's a little bit more dim in there than it is anyplace else. It's going to be kind of it's a much, much bigger and louder room. I'm using a little lapel mic to try to potentially get a little bit better audio and block out all the extra noise that's going on here, but we'll see. Let me know how the audio is if you get the chance. I'm a little hoarse, which is to say a pony, right now because there's a lot of talking and having a good time last night, and so yeah, my voice is a little messed up currently, so that's why it might sound a little bit different, but yeah. Let's see here. Todd says I'm coming in fine. Sound is good. It's from Llama Juice, so good to hear, good to hear. I was going to try to plug in a battery pack as well and hopefully not run out of battery, but I left the cord in my luggage, and my luggage is locked somewhere in the lobby, and it's a whole thing. So we'll just go for a while and see how it works. But yeah, so right now I'm kind of standing on the very edge of the vendor kind of area. You can kind of see behind me. Right there is Creature Caster and Monument Paints with their Pro Acryl line. I ordered some Pro Acryl paints, which they're going to ship home to me, so I don't have to take them on my luggage. Looking forward to that. This is Misty Mountain Games. They make a lot of leather goods and cool dice trays and stuff like that. Let's see, over here, that's Games Workshop's booth, and they've got a whole bunch of, what do you call that stuff? It's Forge World. A lot of other things came out. A bunch of the new Sister stuff that came out this weekend showed up here. Let's see here. What else? We've got our friends over here at Battle Foam. We got the Battle Foam booth. They've been selling stuff quite a bit, and they're going to be heading up pretty soon. I'm going around the backside here now. This is a bunch of trash that just kind of gets, ends up. We've got a couple other companies over here. We've got cool laser etched pint glasses. We've got a store over here called Little Shop of Magic that's selling a lot of different stuff. We've got Trenchworks over here. I bought some Victoria miniatures before, actually on the first day. We've got a bunch of the new Warhammer stuff. Let's see, Army Painter paints. Squad marks. They were here last year. They're little markers you put on the underside of your bases so you can keep track of which squad's which and that kind of stuff. Got Hammerhead Games over here, and they're selling a lot of laser etched stuff and tokens, and they got these cool trophies which light up. Those are pretty cool. For those of you who like to convert, we've got Pop Goes the Monkey. They are they do a lot of shapeweigh stuff. Over here is the Weird Miniatures booth, so they've got stuff from the other side and Malifaux over there. Arena Rex has got a good presence. They brought a bunch of stuff. We've got Turbo Dork. We've got some art stuff going on. This is Dad's Armies. They're a store, and they sell a lot of different stuff, predominantly edging a little bit more towards the historical stuff, but also some like older GW stuff and stuff from overseas. They also will scan your head right there and then make a miniature based off of your head, which is fun. We've got Privateer Press back here, who I think is starting to pack up a little bit. We've got a t-shirt manufacturer over here, and got a really nice Las Vegas Open t-shirt. I've bought a couple of these t-shirts in the past. Broken Egg Games, they sell a lot of tokens and rulers and all kinds of cool stuff. Got a whole line of the Ammo by MiG acrylics and everything over here at this shop. Game Castle. We've got Tectonic Studios. They make a lot of laser cut MDF. There's Dan over there. All kinds of cool pieces of terrain and things to move your guys around with. What else do we got? Over here we've got Mr. Laser. They make a lot of different stuff. You can get it on Etsy, like those those dice that I really, really like for Kill Team. Those are a lot of fun. Got Badger airbrushes over here. Got Zone Raiders over here. Talked about them quite a bit, and every little war over here. So that's pretty much the whole vendor area. And I mean, it's not a huge vendor area. It's not as big as, say, Adepticons. It's not as big as Gen Cons for sure. Gen Con's dealer area is about the size of this entire convention nearly. But yeah. So this area over here, switch here around. This is kind of the demo area. There's a lot of different games that are being just sort of demoed. You can sit down and learn new stuff. Like I said, way over back that direction is a lot of tournaments for X-Wing and Privateer Press stuff and Bolt Action and a lot of things like that. But it's a lot smaller than I thought it would be. Well, again, like I said, that's just that side. There's Adam from the Army Painter. Whoops, excuse me, pardon me. Now we're gonna head this way. This is the bigger 40K room, and the big 40K championship is mostly winding down, or has wound down for the most part. But this is the big room that it takes place in. Like I said, it's a bit more dim than the other room. And once we get past it, though, we'll get into the better part, where there's a little bit more going on. I thought about trying to do this at the normal time, which would be 9 Central Time, but I forgot that 9 Central Time is 7 a.m. Pacific Time here in Las Vegas, and then the problem is that if I do it at that time, nothing is going. So nobody would be in here. I think it actually would be closed off. So this is the big tournament room. Yesterday, it was completely full. I talked to somebody from the tournament, and they said they just almost made 800 people. So 800 people in the championship tournament where we're playing in here over the last 2 days. Today is the last day. It's the final 8 or final 16, I'm not sure. But it's a big honkin' room is what it is. And it is considerably quieter than it was yesterday, but there's still plenty of stuff going on. Over this direction is where the like the GW, where they've been streaming on Twitch all weekend. It's all over here. But this room's got, like I said, 400-ish tables and tons of terrain, and it's really good looking stuff as well. So I've been pretty happy with, like the terrain used to be a little bit, in the earlier days I think it was a different thing, but now it's become quite a good looking terrain. So this is, I think, some of the championships that are going on over here. That's the big rig that GW uses to stream. You got Reese and Frankie over there. They're doing the color commentating. Control is going on over there. And that's the game. They've got a judge right there to make sure everything's going well. They've got, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 cameras, I think, on that setup. So I believe each player is mic'd as well, so you can kind of hear what they're talking about. And over here, I think, is where they're doing the championship for Age of Sigmar, I believe. So yeah, they've been doing a lot of streaming. If you've been following that stuff, there's a lot to it. But these are trophies. Lots and lots of trophies that'll be given out, I think, at the end of this. It's a very large chainsword, I think. Oh, yeah, there's the chains. You just barely see them. But yeah, a lot of other, these are some other trophies as well. But yeah, this is, like this portion of the thing is not really my forte, because I'm not a tournament player. But it's a different story. Dan Drive says, who's talking? I just joined. It's me. My voice just sounds kind of weird because, hey, this is a different microphone. I got a little lapel mic, and I'm kind of hoarse from talking to a lot of people last night at a couple of different bars here in the casino, and of course there's loud music, and then you're kind of having to talk loudly, and then I've been talking to people since I got here on Thursday, so my voice is starting to go out a little bit. I don't know, I bought some stuff this weekend. I bought some Badger airbrushes. They've got this new stuff that you can spray onto stuff that you've 3D printed to help smooth out the kind of striations in normal filament printing. And I want to try that stuff out when I get home, because I have some buildings that would work really well with, I think. What else did I buy? Like I said, I bought a cool set of models from Victoria Miniatures. They're resin, kind of like Rad Trooper. I'm going to convert them a lot and do a bunch of cool stuff with them. I'm looking forward to that as well. What else did I buy? I bought one of those Green Stuff World rollers for putting texture onto bases and stuff like that. So Michael says, did you play any games? I did not play any games, unfortunately. I watched a couple of demos. A lot of the times the demos were full. So it was like in that demo area that I was showing you, which is back down that way, there were a lot of, it was full with games and full with people sitting in seats playing games. So there were a couple of times I was interested in trying out Dust 1947 because I love the models so much. But I thought, well, you know, I don't want to like kick anybody out or anything like that. So I was just trying to do that stuff. But a lot of times when I come to these conventions, I don't really come to play. A lot of times when I come to these conventions, I certainly don't come to play in tournaments. But yeah. I'm surprised how good the stream quality is over mobile. Well, I'm glad to hear that. That's good. I'm not using the Wi-Fi in the hotel. That could be it. A lot of times, hotel Wi-Fi is really kind of sketchy. I'm just using the normal Verizon, whatever, LTE that I've got here. And it's Vegas. I'm sure that there's lots and lots and lots of repeaters all through this area to make sure everything's good. Hey, Adam, as a Brit, do you think that the event is worth the price to go and see? Hotel, a reasonable price? The hotels are not terrible, honestly. I stayed at the Paris. So this takes place in the Bally. But the Bally and the Paris are attached to each other. They're like a walkway full of like restaurants and stuff. So I've stayed in the Bally before. It's okay, but I kind of like the Paris a little bit better. It's maybe a touch more expensive, but not much. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about the stuff like that. If you're coming from overseas, obviously it's a good hike. You know, it's going to be a decent plane ride, but generally flying into Vegas is not that expensive in comparison to some other places in the US. So let me see here. People talking about some things going on in the tournaments and stuff like that. I know a lot of people have been keeping track of the tournaments, both with the app, the Best Coast Pairing app, and people have been watching it on Twitch. Like I said, they've been streaming in here really the entire weekend. It is it's quite a, like the Wi-Fi in here, like I said, is not great, but if you get, you know, these streamers are paying to get the hardline, you know, internet directly in, and it works out pretty well that way. So let me see, what else? There's also, there are two other places where they've got stuff going on. So I've just showed you like the big main room here. This is where all of the 40K tournament was going on over the last 3 to 4 days, whatever. And then I showed you at the beginning the other room in there in the vendor hall. There, if you go out into the casino and you go to these elevators and you go up to the 26th floor, that's where all the kill team is, as it turned out. Last year, the kill team was behind me back on this wall, back here. This year they moved all the kill team upstairs. Now, if I would have known that ahead of time, I probably actually would have tried to play some kill team friendly. The reason I didn't want to play kill team friendly in here is because it's not that loud in here right now, but when this place is full to capacity, it is deafening. And I just don't want to play in that kind of environment. So, yeah, but if I would have known that it was that they moved it upstairs this year, I probably would have maybe tried to play a little bit. Hi from the other side of Vegas. Well, hello, Kung Pao. The other kind of conglomeration of stuff is through the casino on another tower up on the 3rd floor. That's where the Star Wars Legion was going on. That's where Star Wars Armada was going on. And that's also where all the Flames of War, Team Yankee and stuff was going on as well. That's a good hike, so we probably won't head over to there in this particular video. But yeah, it was a good hike. I'm going to show you some of this last table over here so you can kind of see some of this. The terrain, I'm always impressed by the quality of the terrain and the number of pieces, like how much stuff. Like if you think about it, during the year, like the rest of the year that's not LVO, this whole stuff has to sit in storage and not get beat up too bad, you know what I mean? So that's really kind of important. And it is pretty amazing in my mind how much, because again, if you're having almost 800 players, that means that you've got 400 tables. This table over here is 244, you know what I mean? So yeah, they do really good work. Like this is the whole kind of orc district that we've got going on over here. Again, there's more orc over here. The tables, you know, in general, these kind of sections are themed. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 tables, and they're all kind of the same. And then you've got kind of green orc table stuff over here. There's 4 of those. You've got ice stuff going on over there. You've got more kind of city with some fall colors on the trees over here. If you've been following me at all on Instagram over this weekend, I took a bunch of pictures of how many knights that I saw. Knights are still a pretty big, they're still a pretty big force to be reckoned with here. So many fat mats, yeah, absolutely. There's piles of them. When they start breaking this place down, there is a pile that's about the size of a man that is just fat mats, and it just makes a lot of sense because it's a lot easier to store those over the time as well. So, but yeah, it is just a giant, monstrous convention. Tournament. The convention, I would say that Adepticon is twice as big, probably, but that's the overall convention. This tournament is, Adepticon's max tournament for the championship, I think, is 256, and this is, like I said, they had nearly 800 just for the championship 40K tournament. So it's a huge undertaking. It's really pretty impressive. Does it smell of fart? LOL. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Once in a while, you walk through something, but yeah, it's not too bad, honestly. I think maybe because it's been relatively cool in here, that helps a lot. It's, I feel warm right now, but in general, it's relatively cool. Back home, it's 30 degrees. Here, it's 65, so that's kind of thrown off my internal temperature as well a little bit. Hats off to the Frontline team. I remember the first one that they put out, the first convention they put together, definitely impressive. Oh, absolutely. No, they really do. They've really been doing some pretty amazing work, and they keep growing this and growing this. They've grown the hobby stuff a little bit this year too, so they've actually had more teachers and more classes that they've been doing, so that's been really good. Good idea having it in winter. Summer in Vegas with a bunch of sweaty gamers pass. Yeah, absolutely. I can totally understand that. I just don't want to be in Nevada much, I don't think, in the summer. But again, I'm a Wisconsin boy. I don't really want to be in Arizona. I don't want to be in a lot of really places that are as hot when it's really hot, you know? So I get that. Let's see, what else? Like I said, this tournament is finishing up. I don't know if any of you have been watching any of the Twitch coverage over today, but I know that the last tables and all that stuff are kind of winding down. It's part of what was going on over back behind me over there. That's the GW stuff. So yeah, that's the big end of the 40K championship that's been finishing up. Favorite army you've seen? Gosh, that's a very good question. I don't know. I've been trying to pay attention to a lot of paint jobs, and I got to admit, especially here in the 40K room and in the Age of Sigmar stuff as well, I'm really impressed by a lot of the paint jobs. It's really kind of interesting. I've looked at some of the other games. I know, I'll be perfectly honest, and it's just kind of part of the culture, but I walked through the room that had the Privateer Press tournaments going on, and there's a lot of unpainted stuff in there, but that's kind of always been their thing, so yeah. Jake says, I met you at the Wisco. You were very nice and great channel, man. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I enjoyed the Wisco. That was a good time. But yeah, this is, This is a good, I don't know. I've been having a lot of fun with it. So I just wanted to try to get a quick Sunday show. This is probably not going to be a 2-hour. It very possibly won't be an hour because my battery will probably die before then, since like I said, I remembered the battery charger doohickey, but I forgot a cable, so that's not going to work. I brought cables, but they're packed in my luggage, which is locked in some room in the lobby, and I'll pick up before I have to go to the airport. I fly out around 4-ish or so. So here right now it is 11:18. So I got some time, but let's see. People saying hello. How are you guys doing? Yeah, this is kind of just a surprise kind of video. Thanks for the glimpse of LVO. Going to try and go next year for Underworlds. There was a lot of Underworlds here. There was a decent amount of Warcry. Not a lot, but there was a decent amount of Warcry. It was a little bit more than I expected, actually, for how relatively new that game is in the comparison. But yeah. So yeah, again, right now, this room, pretty quiet, actually, because the majority of the playing is done. But as you can see, it kind of just goes off into the distance. And there was a lot of stuff going on, but it was real loud in here yesterday and Friday, and even to some degree Thursday, but really Friday and Saturday. On Thursday night, there was a GW press event that I went to, and it was really kind of interesting. They talked about a lot of the new stuff that's coming out. There was frankly nothing that really super got me excited. There was a lot of people that were excited in that room, so they did put out a lot of stuff, but it was not stuff that I was super into, so yeah. So this is the LVO. Yeah, well, It's winding down, admittedly, because it's Sunday, so there's a lot of people that are, the main tournament is done or on the way to being done. Are you buying anything at the show? Favorite vendor? Yeah, like I said before, I bought a bunch of Pro Acryl paints from Monument. It's Monument/Creature Caster. I've bought some in the past, a couple, and I've really liked them. Monument's Pro Acryl paint. Their white is my favorite white. It's absolutely my favorite white paint of any that I've ever come across. So because of that, I've really kind of said, you know what, I'm going to buy a bunch more of their paint. So I did that. I bought this new special primer that Badger Airbrushes puts out, and it's designed just to help smooth out 3D printed stuff. I'm looking forward to trying that out. What else? I bought one of those rollers from Green Stuff World, where you use it for texturing like green stuff on your bases and things like that. We've got Mama Sin Table. Mama Sin Table says Pro Acryl are amazing. Yeah, I really do like those paints quite a bit, so I'm glad. I'm looking forward to it. Other than this one and Adepticon, what other events are good? My other favorite convention between Adepticon and this one is the Nova Open in Washington, D.C. Usually happens late August, early September. This year, I think it maybe starts on September 1st or 2nd and then kind of bleeds over from there. So yeah, it's a really great convention as well. Again, very tabletop wargaming miniatures oriented. Also a lot of hobby stuff at that convention at Nova. But yeah, I would say the three best in the country right now are Adepticon, this one, and Nova for if you're interested in tabletop wargaming and miniatures. That's just kind of the way to go. Let's see if there's anything. I'm going to take you back into the other room right now. I know it's not your game, but did you see any big Infinity news? I did not see any Infinity news because I don't think the Infinity company, I don't think Corvus Belli was here, but there were Infinity players in an Infinity tournament, and I don't know if that's all packed up yet, but I can take you over by there to actually see some of that stuff if you're interested. Looks kind of empty. Well, it is, like I said, it's Sunday, it's almost lunchtime, and the tournament that big 40K tournament is done. Well, it's almost done. They're down to the last couple of tables, and so it's that big room, which has been a lot more full pretty much every day of the convention, has finally started to calm down. What's coming up from GW? I know they've got new elves, new high elves and stuff is coming out. There wasn't anything else that really, I was going to say, there's nothing really else that really piqued my interest particularly, and I was not particularly piqued by elves because I'm not an elf fan, but let's see here. Which casino hotel? It's at the Bally Casino Hotel, and it is, it's a good convention spot. I think that they've got one more year here and then the contract is up, so they may move to a new hotel at some point. This room is, like I said, this is the room where there's a lot of different games going on, but there's still a lot of stuff going on. Oh yeah, Seraphon book, more lizards, so that's cool. Here's a big banner for Infinity. The Infinity tournaments were here going on, and this is all bolt action, and this is the tables they've got for bolt action. I think the games are done, but they haven't packed up any of the terrain and stuff like that yet. Let's see. Any idea what the Badger 3D print primer is called? I haven't heard of it. I will let you guys know once I find it. It's in my luggage right now, but I bought it's like a 4-bottle pack. You get the filler stuff, and then you get like a black, a white, and a gray, and it works out nice like that. So yeah, this is all still bolt action tables and things like that over here. They had a pretty decent sized bolt action tournament. Went all the way down that way, and it went all the way over this way. Let's see here. We've got X-Wing going on over here. I think this is, well, actually, this is Star Wars Destiny right here. That looks like they're streaming, but X-Wing's been over here the entire weekend as well. This is more Star Wars Destiny. The tournament's still going on. Here's more X-Wing tournament that's still going on. Like, there's a lot of people still in this room, but yet it's nicely, it's not too loud. I think it's maybe the way the room is built. It could be like the ceiling, maybe it's designed to be acoustically deadening a little bit, which would be very nice. But yeah, they've got some big championships going on for X-Wing. Any Wild West Exodus this weekend? I have not seen any Wild West Exodus, yeah. There was a lot of Blood Bowl, though, as well. I don't think there's any being played anymore right now. I think that tournament might be done, but I could also be wrong on that as well. So yeah, here they're streaming X-Wing. Final table's over there. You can see the light over there. And that's the big tournament. And we've got some color commentary over here. Let me see, what else? Here we're starting to move into the Age of Sigmar Tournament, as you can see by the sign. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going on in there. All right. Any costumes? I don't know that I saw any. Well, no, I take that back. There was one person who was walking around like in a hood, and they had, it was like they almost looked like they were a Mechanicus or something like that. So yeah. How was Underworlds? I know it was being played. I just don't remember now where it was. But there's still plenty of Age of Sigmar Tournament finishing up currently, which is pretty cool. And they've also got some pretty neat tables. I wish I would have brought my gimbal so that the camera wasn't so shaky, but I hope it's not too disconcerting. This, I think, is maybe the doubles tournament for Age of Sigmar. But yeah, very colorful tables, a lot of different stuff, a lot of different types of terrain. They do it a bit differently than the 40K folks. The 40K folks have got like long stretches of all the same stuff, and this is all kind of moved around a lot. So that's cool. Shaking is manageable. I appreciate it. I'm trying to figure out how to slow it down. I'm holding a little mini tripod, and that's what I've got the camera attached to. Did you get to see any other tabletop celebs? Well, I mean, celeb is a strong word for us, frankly, but I did hang out last night with Phil the Glacial Geek. We were having some cocktails. Gosh, who else was I? I was hanging out with some other folks too, but I mean, there weren't a lot this year. There was no mini wargaming folks here. The guys from Tabletop Tactics weren't able to make it. I hung out with those guys last year. I really like those guys. But yeah, it was. There were some folks. I talked to the Apathetic Fish from Mexico, and I also met, and I forget his name now. I'm terrible, absolutely terrible with names. But I met the guy from the eBay Miniature Rescue channel, you know, where he buys something on eBay and then strips it and then repaints it and that kind of stuff. He was super nice. We had a great conversation. Are you working on any new kill teams? Yes, my next kill team is Tyranids. Ooh, this is a fancy streaming thing going on over here. A lot of lighting. Why does YouTube put ads on live shows? I think to make money, most likely. I don't know what the heck. Oh, this is 40K narrative. So these 40K narrative games have been running all weekend as well. They're very different from the tournaments. They're much more story driven. Star Wars Legion tables, I was talking about that a little earlier. They're unfortunately like on the other side of the casino. So I took a bunch of pictures. You can see them on Instagram and like Facebook. But yeah, for me to walk there, I'd have to walk through the whole casino, and it would probably take a good time, or a good long time. Is Kill Team still popular? There was Kill Team tournaments going on, but they were also going on up on the 26th floor and not in this main room, unfortunately. Well, it's fortunate because it was a lot quieter. Unfortunate because I didn't know they were going to be in the quieter rooms. If I would have known that the Kill Teams were going to be in the quieter rooms, I probably would have actually tried to play in the Kill Team friendly. Do you prefer to play narrative over open matched? I prefer narrative, I really do. I mean, you know, matched is fine in certain situations, but I never play any tournaments. There's a big, what is that, big manta or something over there from the Tau? Right over there. This is a big Necron table. So there's a lot of these big games going on. Is there any Necromunda stuff out? Yeah, they had actually a bunch of the Necromunda Forge World stuff, like the special gun sets, replacement heads, and things like that. I actually ended up buying some of that stuff because I had never seen it in a store before, so that's another thing I just remembered that I bought. Got a big battle going on over here. Big conflagration right in the middle there. So let's see here.
I want your thing.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good.
Thank you. Thank you. Was there a lot of Painted Sisters? There was a decent amount of Painted Sisters. No, there's an announcement going on. Sorry. I think it's easy. It's interesting to see these tables, how they've got them all kind of like sort of offset. There's one table this way and the back table's kind of that way. It's interesting to see that for the narrative games. I think it's probably because, hey, Chris, how you doing? I swear to God, I thought I saw you, Chris, like 20 minutes ago. I was walking by the hobby room and I saw this guy from behind who was in there painting who I thought was you, but it turns out it wasn't you at all. So I hope you're doing well, Chris. But yeah, it must make a big kind of clump right in the middle where that's the kind of bottleneck to get through. It makes a lot of sense. What's the ratio to painted to non-painted? The painted stuff is probably, in 40K in Age of Sigmar, it's easily 90+%. I think it might be actually a requirement for those tournaments. Like I said before, the what do you call it? The privateer press stuff, I would say painted is maybe 40%. So yeah.
2+ for infantry, 4+ for vehicles.
I keep thinking the rug design is a bunch of cords. No, it's just kind of older hotel rug, hotel rug shenanigans. But it does look like people have just been like leaving a lot of very multicolored extension cords on the ground. But yeah, it's just the carpet. That rug is not great. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I agree. Let's see here. But yeah, this is the 40K narrative, and I think it's really cool that they're doing this kind of stuff. What do we got over here? This is Song of Ice and Fire. So they got a bit of a fuzz. Well, looks like 6 tables of Song of Ice and Fire, so that's pretty cool. Those of you that the Song of Ice and Fire is based off of it's the books that the Game of Thrones stuff was based off of, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, you got some cool tournaments going on for that stuff. As you can see, they're starting to kind of break things down. Here's a giant pile of fat mats I was talking about before. Later on in the big 40K room way off that way, there will be a much, much, much larger pile of fat mats. So yeah. Will there be a booty video for LVO? I mean, potentially. I don't know there'll be a full-blown video, but I would definitely see myself probably doing, maybe talking about it in the next Every Other Sunday show. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to try to find a place to sit for a little bit, maybe, and then I can put this tripod down. I'm currently in a sea of no chairs, though. You can tell here, just no chairs. I'll find a chair. But let's see here. Did you buy any minis over the weekend? I did buy a couple of, like I said before, I bought some heads and some guns for Necromunda from, what's his name? From Forge World. And I also bought from Victoria Miniatures, I bought a set of 10, they're called Rad Troopers. There's a name that's such and such Rad Troopers, and they're very cool, so yeah. Safe travels today. With everybody vacating to get out of the airport early, most shuttles get slammed, so take a lift. I always usually take a lift, actually, because yeah, you're right, the shuttles are never super dependable. I didn't buy it yet, but when I get back, I'm going to buy it, have it shipped. But I think I'm going to put my Star Wars Legion into one of these bags from Battle Foam. It's called the Pack 352, and I just really like that kind of urban camo. It's kind of a limited edition they're doing, and I was going to buy one here, but then I'm like, I don't know how to get it home, and he's like, when you get back, just shoot me an email or whatever, and we'll take care of it, and so I'm going to get, I'll still get the convention special because Battle Foam does usually convention specials at the convention, but I know those guys, so they're like, we'll give you the discount, but you will still ship it because they want to sell through. I think as I was showing their booth a little bit at the very beginning of this video, I think they were selling the last one of these bags, which I really think are cool, and it will work well for Legion because there's not a lot of big vehicles and stuff in there, so I think it'll work well. And if push comes to shove, I do have other bags from them that I could move into if I really expand my my Legion armies, but I don't know that it'll happen. So I think this is still more Age of Sigmar. What is the least popular represented army you saw in play over the weekend? I didn't pay super crazy close attention to the stats of the big tournament, but I know that somebody published a big listing of them and like graphs and stuff like that before I flew out here. So I know that information's out there. I just don't know it myself, unfortunately. Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to deflect the mic. Are there big Legion tournaments? Yeah, I don't know that there's any more today, but I did find the Legion area. It's unfortunately on the other side of the convention center, and it's up on the 3rd floor. But they kind of had a huge big room, mostly to themselves. I actually talked a little bit yesterday to a couple of the guys from 5th Trooper podcast, and chatted with those guys for a little while. They were running the majority of the tournament. It was very cool. What would you say was the best surprise over the weekend? That's a good question. I don't know. The weather I thought was really quite nice. How much 30K? There was some 30K going on also up on the 26th floor where they were also doing the kill team. I did walk around and look at some of the 30K stuff going on. So they did have, there was not nearly as much 30K as there is, say, like at Adepticon, but there was definitely some going on. Star Wars Legion finals are happening now. Well, that's good to know. So yeah, if you're interested, I'm sure that they're probably streaming it. I don't know on what. Might be Fifth Trooper if they've got a Twitch. I've only ever listened to their podcast. I don't know if they have a Twitch. Anything from Night Models, like the Batman game? They didn't have a booth, but I do remember seeing some terrain. They did have a tournament here. It was maybe only 6 tables, but they did have a tournament here with a lot of the nice-looking terrain. I remember coming across it at some point on Thursday, I think, when I was first walking around. So yeah. Well, let's see here. Let's take a look. So yeah, how much larger is the attendance for a normal 40K versus kill team? Well, the 40K championship was 800-ish players, roughly. And the kill team was a lot less than that. So yeah, absolutely.
What were they asking?
The kill team versus 40K.
Okay.
Yeah. So I know that I found the kill team before. I forget your name, man.
Scott.
Scott runs the majority of the Age of Sigmar stuff here, and this is the big end of the tournament.
Doubles?
The doubles.
The top 8 are over there.
Top 8 doubles are over there.
169 at Dice Drop.
169 at Dice Drop, just for doubles or for the champion?
For the champs.
For the champs. So yeah, we had almost 200 for the champs for Age of Sigmar, and I was told by one of the guys it was almost 800 for 40K. So That's huge tournaments.
I heard you answering one question. I figured I could help.
Oh yeah, no, it was about kill team and everything. But yeah, I appreciate it.
You know where to find me and yell at me.
Absolutely, man. Thanks. I talked to him for quite a while last year. I can't remember anybody's name. It's a character flaw, but I can always recognize faces. I don't know what it is. It's not quite as helpful, I guess. Yeah, he's a super nice guy. Very good, and has been running the Age of Sigmar here for at least the last 3 years that I've been here. Any Judgment tables are playing. I haven't seen any Judgment. It might have popped up at some point in the, you can't see this, over there in the, way over on that side, way over there was the demos. There was demos going on and stuff like that. A lot of faces, hard to keep all the names with them. That's very true. But I also just never, I don't know, I have like a blank spot in my memory for names, but I will see somebody on TV and I'll say to my wife, I think that's so-and-so who was on this show, and she'll be like, no, and then I'll look it up and it'll turn out I was right. Riot Games wasn't lurking around, was it? Riot Quest? Riot Games, no, but they were running demos for Riot Quest from Privateer Press. I saw some of those and they were pretty interesting, so. Whoops, hang on. Was Soda Pop there? I don't know. That's a good question. Soda Pop Games or somebody else? I'm not sure. But yeah, like I said, over here you got your. Is that the carpet? Yeah, that's the carpet. I'm not standing on a bunch of coiled Cat 5. It's just what the carpet looks like. Soda Pop miniatures. No, I did not see them. But yeah, this is more finals for X-Wing. Any Guild Ball? I don't remember if I saw Guild Ball. I did see Blood Bowl, but I don't remember seeing Guild Ball. So I don't know. I know last year there was, because I remember talking to a friend of mine who kind of owns the company that does a lot of the mats. What was this again? Oh, Malifaux. This is Big Malifaux, like the final Sunday Malifaux tournament. So yeah. Gaslands. There were some demos at Gaslands, and there was some Gasland stuff that was getting sold, but there was not any Gasland tournaments or anything along that I saw. So yeah. There you go. The nice thing about this being in a casino is that it's everything is fine. Pretty much everyone's fine for like you going to the bar, getting something and bringing it back, you know. And as long as you don't spill it on tables and things like that, adult beverages are great. So that's kind of nice actually about playing in a casino. Some hotels are okay with that, some are not. Did they also have Age of Sigmar Kill Team tournaments? Well, we were just over by the Age of Sigmar tournament over there. They had 200 people for the championship this year. Kill Team tournaments were upstairs on the 26th floor, which I can't get to right now because it'll take me a long time to get there. Any bolt action stuff? Yep. Actually, I just walked by the bolt action stuff before. These are the, right here, these are the bolt action tables. So they had these, and it went all the way down to way down there. But the tournament's done now, and I guess they're going to start packing up, or maybe they'll, I don't know, maybe they're going to, oh wait, there's more over here. Well, yeah, this is still bolt action, yeah. For a second I thought maybe Flames of War, but no, this is more bolt action stuff here. So they had a decent sized bolt action tournament, another bolt action sign over there. Any bits vendors during any of the days? Not like used bits, like, you know, when you go to Adepticon, when you go to Gen Con, things like that, and even the Nova Open, there is a lot of, there's a company called The Bits Guy who's out of Toledo, and they bring bins and bins and bins of bits for you to dig through and stuff like that, but they don't make it to this convention. So again, like I said, this is the smaller room. That is, I just finally figured out how long I've been doing this. I was like, where's the timer? There it is. Do people still play Dust? Don't you have any models for it? I do have models for it. Actually, the Dust folks were running demos over in the demo area the majority of the weekend, and I don't think they're there anymore. They were full most of the time because I would actually like to try the new Dust 1947. Not so much the square game, you know, with the square board, but more the one that's actually like a miniatures game. Let's see here. But I don't think they're here anymore. No, they were in this table over here by this gentleman who's having lunch. This is, looks like Monster Apocalypse. Yep. But yeah, so there's a lot of cool demos and things like that going on over here. What do we got this? This is not Blood Bowl. This is, it's called Fourth Quarter, Gridiron Football. Well, that's cool. And what have we got over here? Oh, so Saga. That's cool. Nice. So yeah, this kind of area right now, and again, I'm doing this on the last day of the convention, but this is the demos area, as you can see by that sign right there. So there's been a lot of different demos. I did see some Kill Team demos yesterday. I saw Hellboy was being played over here. Now it's kind of a place for people to sit and chill, which actually I might just do a little bit myself right now. I'm going to try to get this stuff here. I'm going to flip this around. I'm going to try to set this tripod up. It's all bendy. I apologize for all the wiggliness and the crookedness. Try to fix that. There we go. Which of the big three miniature wargaming conventions has the most vendors? That would be Adepticon, easily, yeah. Adepticon's like 6,000 folks, whereas this one is about 3,000 folks, and I think so is Nova. But yeah, this one's got the most, Adepticon's got the most vendors. But this is still a decent selection of vendors. I think it works out nicely, so yeah. Have you ever played in a tournament? Not at a big event like this, no. I did play some tournaments back in the day for like X-Wing and some other games and things like that. Have I ever played in a 40K tournament? I don't think so. But I know that I don't generally enjoy tournament style play, so that's why I've not done it. I'm gonna adjust this a little better here. But yeah, that's kind of part of it. I don't begrudge people who want to play tournaments. I think it's great for the game industry, and I think that a lot of people have a good time with it, meet lots of people and all kinds of stuff like that. But I like to play games that are a little bit more narrative or a little bit more one-on-one, a little bit quieter sometimes. How would you rate your experience at LVO compared to other cons? That's a good question. LVO is, I think it's a good convention. I really do. I enjoy it. I wish there was maybe a little bit more hobby-related stuff. But other than that, you know, the one downside a little bit is Vegas. I'm not a big Vegas guy. I'm not into gambling. I'm not into shows and all that kind of stuff. And so things are a bit more expensive here. The hotel's not so bad, actually, as far as, you know, the rooms and stuff like that. But sometimes, like, the food can be a little bit more expensive. The drinks can be more expensive. I was very, very, very thirsty and also very, very tired a couple days ago, so I went and grabbed a can of Diet Mountain Dew, and it cost $5, so I was kind of bummed about that once I got up to the register. Glad to catch the stream. Did you get to see any of the Star Wars Legion tourney? Yeah, I did. I was up into that. I was up in that room a little bit on Friday and Saturday. As I was saying earlier, it is, unfortunately, it's not anywhere near where all the rest of this is going on. It's on the other side of the hotel and up on the 3rd floor. So, hey Adam, what do you think about Frostgrave? I think Frostgrave's a great game, especially for if you're a little bit more into narrative stuff. Absolutely. Any Pachow shirts in the wild? Yeah, I did see a bunch of different, maybe half a dozen different shirts from my t-shirt shop in the wild, as it were. So that was cool. You look like you're holding up well. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. My voice is going away, and my flight is at like 3:45. I'm going to try to get out of here. It is currently 12:45. I'm going to try to get out of here probably by 1-ish, maybe a little bit later, and then I'll sit at the airport for a while. I have a 30-minute layover in between when I get to Minneapolis, but luckily I'm like coming in on gate like D12 and then leaving on gate D9, so it's real close to each other, but like the plane that I'm leaving on will have already started boarding 10 minutes before I land, so we'll see how it goes, It's not Southwest where you just basically get whatever seat you can find. It's like assigned seating, so it should be fine. But I won't get back to Wisconsin until almost midnight Wisconsin time, but I'll be flying into Milwaukee, and then I'll still have to drive an hour and a half north to get back to home. So it'll be nearly 1 o'clock in the morning before I get home, so it'll be a little bit of fun. You guys should do a tabletop cruise on a ship. I mean, I know that there are board gaming cruises and things like that. That might be something to look into, but I don't know. I don't even know where to start on that. Maybe start with somebody else who's already doing a cruise and see if they want to expand into something that's a little bit more. I know that there is actually a wargaming cruise, or else someone reached out to me about it, and now I'm remembering it. It's a little, cloudy, but I'm starting to remember it. Let's see here. There was just a pro wrestling cruise. That sounds fun, like especially if it's like the seas are real high and everything like that, and then everything's kind of moving, and then it's try to put somebody in a headlock and you miss and fall over. I don't know if that's actually how those things work. I've never been on a cruise ship before, so I don't know how much they sort of wiggle and wobble and such. Let's see here. It's if you get a chance, try to go to conventions in general, whether they're big conventions like this or Adepticon or Nova, or whether it's just a small local convention. It's just a really great experience. I usually come back invigorated in some capacity. When I come back from a convention like this, it's something that I find I come back and I'm like, this is really, gets my engines charged for the hobby and that kind of stuff. So if you get a chance, definitely try it. Even if it's a small local convention, 200 people, still go give it a try and see what you think. I'm going to a small local convention end of February as well called Fire and Ice. It's in Manitowoc, Wisconsin, so I'm looking forward to that as well. Do 40K tournaments influence fluff at all? I know that Privateer Press has their tournaments influence and stuff. I don't think so. You're right. Privateer Press and some other games in the past have made it so like at the end of like the tournament season, if this one thing happens or whatever, then the next book they write will talk about that thing that happened in the tournament, like it's part of the story. So-and-so was defeated or whatever, that kind of stuff. As far as like, this army was defeated, that hero was defeated, that kind of jazz. GW doesn't do that kind of stuff. I think they hold a little bit more closely onto their brand or onto their fluff, GW did a world tourney that may have affected fluff. You may be right. There was a big event, one of those big, I forget what they call them. But it was a big event that happened years ago, and then at the end of the summer or whatever, they're like, cool, now that means that this happened, and then they put it in the books. But they haven't done that in a long time. Last weekend, we just had SnowCon here in Bangor, Maine, microscopic in comparison. It's still a lot of fun, though, isn't it? Going to these small conventions is a lot of fun. You're helping me get through painting my Acadians. Thanks for the motivation. Well, yeah, keep doing it. There's a lot of them in any general army. If you're doing Acadians, you're going to have a lot of them, kind of like orcs or Tyranids, but I find if you batch paint stuff, if you paint it in groups of, I usually paint in groups of 5 or 10 in those situations, I can get through stuff pretty quickly that way. I have to keep, the text is very small, so I have to look to the bottom of my glasses because I got the bifocals. Let me see here. I had to move from Northern Illinois to Reno, not a fan of the desert. It's very dry, you know. I think it would take a lot to get used to. I know that when I'm in like Utah for Valhalla, I'm there for like a week, and I wake up in the middle of the night, and my tongue is like completely dry, and everything's all dried out, and I got to drink water in the middle of the night, which back home in Wisconsin I pretty much never have to do. So, yeah. But yeah, so like I said, this being Sunday, it's kind of winding down. There was like I said, there was a ton of people, especially in that big 40K room that way, the big 40K championship room. That was an apocalypse back in, even as much as yesterday. So let's see here. People talking about the old tournament stuff. People talking about Warcry. There was some Warcry here, but not a ton. And I frankly don't remember what room it was. I think it was up on the 26th floor with the Kill Team and the 30K stuff, the Horse Heresy. So happy about the Seraphim Battle Tome announcement. I am too, but I really kind of was looking for some new models too, and they didn't really show any models off much. So I was kind of bummed by that. So, but it'll be very cool. Any Apocalypse games? I did not see any Apocalypse games, but there were. If you go back a little ways, we saw a lot of those people playing those narrative games, and that was like a bunch of people playing. They may have been playing Apocalypse, now that I come to think of it, but it didn't look like it. Let's see here. Hey, Paul Noxie, how you doing? What do you think about the new Warcry editions? I'm psyched for Skaven. Oh, yeah, no, definitely. I'm very interested in that as well. I would love to be able to put some Skaven into Warcry. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to doing my Night Haunt in Warcry as well. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun as well. Oh, let me see. I think my next plan after I get done with this stream is I'm going to go. I've got a friend named Val from Canada who's doing some of the streaming for the tournaments. And he's kind of doing more behind the scenes kind of technical stuff. I'm going to go touch base with him and chat. We chatted quite a bit last night. And we were having some cocktails. And we had a good time. So he was like, well, you should come on stream real quick. And I'm like, well, we'll see how it goes. I think they're the 40K Stat Center is the name of their Twitch channel. And they've been streaming pretty much all weekend. So hopefully we'll see if I can get over there and say hi in a little bit. I love you, Tabletop Minion. Well, I love you too. I've got to meet a lot of people here. I had a lot of people come up and say hi and say thank you. And I've had people take their pictures with me and stuff like that. And so that's always a lot of fun. I really enjoy that. About conventions as well. But yeah, it is I guess I'm in my eye now. It's a fun convention, and I'm glad I came. I wasn't thinking I was going to be able to. Initially, I had bought tickets, airline tickets, and then, as you guys know, my mom broke her leg back in mid-November, and then I was like, I don't think I'll be able to go. And then she has healed for a 74-year-old woman surprisingly well, and so I kind of coordinated with my wife, so my wife is kind of on call if there's anything my mom needs or anything like that while I'm gone. And so I got to come here. Also, I could not get a refund on the airline ticket, so that also kind of pushed my hand a little bit more too. So there was that, but yeah, it's been a good trip, and I'm glad I came. My next big trip is I'll be going for work to the Gama Expo, which is the Gama trade show, and that is it's not really public facing. It's everyone walking up and down the aisles is game store owners for the most part and employees. And all of the booths are predominantly publishers and distributors and things like that. So it's more of a business thing for Game 4. And then that's in early March in Reno. And then end of the month, March, is Adepticon, which I'm really looking forward to. If you're going to be able to make it to Adepticon, definitely try to come by and say hi. On Friday night, like around 6, I think, me and Sam are going to have a meetup. We'll post more about that soon and let you know kind of where it's going to be and stuff like that as we get closer to the convention. But looking forward to that as well. Adepticon's still my favorite. Let's see here. What else is going on? I can only see so much of the chat. Like when I'm doing the normal Sunday show from home, I get this big long chat window. When I do this, I get 2 chats and then they disappear pretty quickly. They're like, anyway. So yeah, this is kind of the first. I was going to say this is the first time I've streamed from my phone, but that's not true. I know I streamed a couple years ago from Adepticon a little bit. Let's see here. Have you already talked about Underworld Online? I know very little about Underworld Online, but they reached out to me, actually. I knew it was coming, but I didn't know what the schedule was like. But they did just reach out to me recently to see if I was interested in getting a beta copy or something like that. So I'm probably, once I get back from this, I'll probably try giving that a try. So yeah. How's Mama Adam doing? She's doing well. Like I said, her leg is healed quite well. My wife and I took her to dinner. Took her out to dinner on Tuesday this week, and she didn't even use the walker. She's just got a cane, one of those with the 4 prongs on the bottom, so it can stand by itself. So yeah, she's progressing quite well actually. So we're really glad for that. I think a lot of it is because of the big Velcro knee immobilizer brace that she wore for like 7 weeks. It really did help. So yeah, that's making me very happy, and my wife happy as well, and my mom is happy that she's getting better. So she's even going to probably start driving again in the next couple of weeks. Everything's real snowy back home right now, so she's not super interested in going outside when it's too snowy, which I understand, because even with a cane, it's a little rough when you're still kind of like a little tipsy on your feet, that kind of thing. But yeah, it looks really good, and it looks like she's going to be getting a lot better. So I'm grateful for that, absolutely. Well, we're coming up on an hour here. It's about 56 minutes in. I think, because I can't see a gauge to see how my battery is, so I have no idea. But I think, like I said, I kind of got to get rolling here pretty soon. How's the weather there in Vegas? It's been 65 Fahrenheit and clear the whole time I've been here, which has been nice. I did actually spend a little bit of time outside the building. Yesterday, around a little after lunch, I went out and did some street photography and just took pictures because there's a zillion people around. I don't know if I got anything good. I won't know until I get home and download everything and put it into Adobe Lightroom and go through and look at stuff. So maybe I got something. Street photography is one of those things where you shoot, 400 images and maybe you get 2, so it depends. I think maybe as you get better, then your percentage goes up and maybe you get 5 or 6, but yeah, we'll see. But yeah, it was nice. Like normally when I come here to this convention, because there's so much going on inside, there's so many hotel or restaurants and places to eat and all that stuff, I just basically don't go outside. I stay in the building the entire time. This year I did go out a little bit. I went to a couple of the casinos to look around and see what they're like. So yeah, definitely. But anyway, I want to thank you folks for kind of dropping in at this unexpected surprise Age of Sigmar every other Sunday show. Again, I apologize for kind of the noise and the wiggly camera and the probably my voice. But I did want to try to keep my schedule up and do all that kind of stuff, and hopefully, honestly, explain some things about what happens at bigger conventions and stuff like that. So, yeah, I hope that I was able to show you some stuff. Like I said, it's spread out a lot, so I can't take you to the other parts of the convention without like walking through the casino. And I don't think you're supposed to stream from the casino because they will think you're trying to like record stuff for a heist. I don't know. It seems ridiculous, but we've been told that. So I'm staying here in the convention rooms, and it's okay. But I hope that you folks are having a good weekend, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks. And I still had a Friday video that went up about making sure watching your hobby debt, and that's been getting a lot of views. So I hope that's been helpful for folks. If you're interested, take a look at some of the streams and some of the stuff that comes out of the LVO. If you're interested in that tournament stuff, knowing more about it, and check it out and see what the stats and see what the winners and things like that look like. But I hope that you have a good weekend, and I think we'll see you again later on. Streaming and yeah.